Today on an all-new Dr. Phil, a non-traditional mom.
So I explained to my daughter that I was a professional dominatrix.
A frustrated dad.
You send your daughter to live with her. Were you just throwing your hands up?
Is their teen daughter.
You're at a concert with your daughter smoking dope that she got from you.
Growing up way too fast.
I started having sex about a year ago.
She's 14. You're okay with her being sexually active?
She was looking at things when she was 11.
Well, you showed them to her.
I did not show them to her.
She said she got it on your phone.
You've undermined me constantly.
I have never undermined you.
You undermine me. You're allowing her to do whatever the hell she wants.
Have a good show, everybody. Here we go.
This is a safe place to talk about hard things.
Stand by. I'll count you down.
I'll try to be an emotional compass and point you in the right direction.
5, 4.
I am not giving up on you. After 16 years of marriage, CJ and Kaylee divorced and now have joint custody of their 14-year-old daughter, Gabrielle. Now, when it comes to parenting, they are complete opposites. I mean, complete opposites. CJ says he insists on strict rules, discipline, and a formal education, while he claims his ex-wife exposes their daughter to an unstable environment, which includes couch hopping, pot smoking, and no regular school at all. Now, Kaylee says she is not square like her ex and insists that their teen daughter should be free to do what makes her feel happy and not be shamed into submission by her father or society. CJ says he believes his ex-wife's terrible influence has caused their daughter to go from being an A student to becoming a high school dropout who just parties all day long. Take a look.
Growing up, Gabrielle was a sweet, wonderful girl. She was a very typical little girl. We used to have tea parties and watch the princess movies. 5 years ago, my marriage to my ex-wife, Kaylee, began to fall apart.
We tried to work things out. One day, I just said to myself, why are we still doing this? And I was done.
Gabrielle was in 6th grade. It was really hard on her.
She was very angry at me. She just felt like I just wanted to break up the family.
Gabrielle had decided that she wanted to live with me rather than her mother. My daughter seemed to be doing fine, and then things just started to change with her. 5 months after Kaylee and I had separated, Gabrielle came home and she dropped a big bomb. My daughter saw a very sexually explicit video of her mother on her phone. She was 11 years old at the time.
So I explained to my daughter that I was a professional dominatrix.
I was just in total shock. I lost my mind.
I know he disagrees and doesn't like and doesn't understand what I do, and I just don't care about that because it makes me feel awesome and I love it, and I'm really good at it.
Over the last couple of years, my daughter has spiraled out of control with the approval of her own mother. She's been drinking alcohol. I found out that her mother had shown her how to make a screwdriver and that she liked to drink them. Gabrielle has been smoking marijuana. I opened up Gabrielle's door and she was high as a kite. When I confronted Kaylee, I found out that she and Gabrielle were smoking pot together.
It's not something that I want to make a daily thing like meals. I can really connect with her and help her in a whole other way that CJ couldn't possibly understand.
At this point, she's effectively dropped out of school. My daughter has also been sexually active for a few years now, and she's only 14.
Sex is a natural thing. We eat, we use the bathroom, we shower, and we have sex. It's not a big deal. Do I feel that I'm condoning Gabrielle's behavior? Yeah.
At this point, I'm beside myself with anger with Kaylee.
Okay. Now, you just heard what she said. Do I endorse this? We eat, we shower, we have sex. You're the father here. What's your reaction to that? Your daughter's 14.
My reaction is utter shock. It's so inappropriate, it's beyond me.
And you said after the divorce, she was living with you for like 3 years and then started spiraling down.
Right.
So how was she spiraling? Why did she start spiraling down with you? What started that?
Well, about 4 months after we separated, she was living with me, and she was upset at the house. And when I confronted her, she said that she had something to tell me and that she didn't want me to be angry, that she was really upset. And first I thought she was just going to tell me something, maybe she had kissed a boy or something had happened at school. But she told me that she had come home to the condo where my ex and I had lived, where my ex was staying, and that she had seen the door was locked to the bedroom, and that my ex was in there with a man, scantily clad. When she knocked on the door, they opened the door. The man was photographing her, and she explained to Gabrielle at that time that she was becoming a professional dominatrix.
Okay, now that upset her.
Yes.
Okay, and what did you tell her? What did you say to her?
Well, I think she was really, honestly, more concerned with my reaction, because I think at the time, because the separation was so new, that she thought that there might be a chance for us to reconcile. And so I think that she kept it from me because I really believed that she might have felt like if I knew that would be it, that we wouldn't ever have a chance to get back together. So,
did she understand? Did her mother explain what that was?
Yes.
That this was sexual services that she was selling?
She explained it. She showed her images on her computer. She saw an image on her mother's cell phone of her pleasuring herself.
And this was, she's 11?
She's 11, yes.
At this time, okay.
Yes.
And she showed her website, and this includes men's private parts?
Yes.
And she's showing her this website?
Yes, and she was also on different dating websites, and she would show my daughter the men that she was interested in and their profiles, and it was all very, very, very inappropriate.
Okay, but she doesn't start spiraling down at this point. You guys talk about that.
Right.
And things continue. She's still going to school. She's
Right.
making A's.
Yeah, she was doing well in school. She was, like I said, she was a typical girl up until the second semester of her 8th grade year. I noticed that her grades started to slip. And so,
why did you send her to live with her mother?
Well, I felt like I run out of options. Her mother undermines me every chance we get. I'm the square. I'm the one that doesn't let her do all the things that she wants to do. And so, effectively, she turned my appraisals and my advice into just white noise for my daughter, so she didn't listen.
Well, what I'm trying to wrap my head around is, you just told me that you were just mind blown that at 11, your wife has become a dominatrix, selling sexual services. She has a website. She's doing this. She tells your daughter. She shows her this. She goes through all of that, and not long thereafter, you send your daughter to live with her. That, I'm sorry, as a father, I'm having a hard time wrapping my head around that.
Right, right. I think, like I said, I have a son who has autism at home.
Right.
She was smoking pot in my house. Where
was she getting it?
From her mother. Her mom has been giving it to her and smoking it with her. I mean, I've caught them at my house, smoking in the driveway.
Well, were you just throwing your hands up?
Basically, I think the hope that I had was that she would go and she would see what that life was all about, because she was getting glimpses. She was seeing, an hour, a couple hours after school, a couple hours on the weekends. My ex had no stable home. She wasn't taking the kids overnight. She wasn't spending a lot of time with her. So my hope was that she saw that her mom's, living in a very poor environment, and that she would it would sort of snap her out of it, wake her up, and make her understand that, things are better here.
Well, Kaylee is here, and no matter how flat you make a pancake, it's got two sides. And she says, not only does she admit she has issues with authority, our staff had to see it firsthand
when she refused to follow the rules or listen to security at the hotel here in Los Angeles. So we're going to find out what happened next.
I smoke weed regularly, and I highly recommend it to everyone. Since Gabrielle's been living with me, she's just blossoming like I couldn't have even imagined. I know that she's sexually active, and I'm really glad that I do, because if I didn't, she couldn't have any discussion about wearing condoms, all of these things.
And later, you say, I'm giving her dope because all kids smoke dope anyway.
You have messed her up. You just want to turn it into, I'm the bad guy.
You are providing your child with alcohol, allowing her to have sex. You are committing a crime.
When Gabrielle went to live with Kaylee, I was really hoping that she would see what her mom's life was like, and that would bring her back to me. I absolutely want my daughter back in my life. I know that I would do a better job and be a better parent than Kaylee. Unfortunately, I'm still waiting for her to come back home.
So now you're living with your 13-year-old son, and he's on the autism spectrum.
Yes.
And so you're managing that. And then Gabrielle is living with her mother.
Yes.
And not going to school.
No, she got straight Fs her second semester in high school. She approached me about going to homeschool, and I told her that no, I wasn't going to homeschool her, that she needed to show me something in school before I would consider doing anything else.
So what do you think her mother's teaching her at this point?
Her mom's teaching her that she can basically do whatever she wants and there aren't any consequences.
And you think she's smoking dope, dropped out of school, and sexually active?
Yes.
At 14?
Yes.
And started 2 years ago?
Oh, yeah.
At 12?
Right. And her mom put her on the pill when she was 12. I think she had her first period, and her mom put her on the pill without even talking to me about it. I came home, and they were on the counter, and
this is offensive to your sensibilities. Now, because your ex-wife, Kaylee, says she is very, quote, confident of her parenting skills.
Yes, this offends my sensibilities greatly.
Yeah. Okay. And have you told this to Kaylee? Have you said, I'm not down with this, I don't get this?
Yeah, we've had plenty of discussions about how I feel that it should go and how she feels it should go. And, you know, her response is that it's like, oh, that's CJ. You know, you don't know. You're a square. You never smoked pot in your life. You don't know anything. You don't drink. You just don't know that those aren't really that harmful.
Well, what do you propose? What is it you want now? I mean, you're with your son, your daughter is with your ex-wife. What do you want to see happen?
What I want to see happen is I want to see my daughter straighten out. I want her back in school. I want her moving towards being a strong, independent woman who can live on her own, not have to rely on a man for anything, just be independent.
Do you want her back with you? You want her with her mother?
Of course I want her back with me. I don't think that where she's at is going to do her any good, and I don't see her turning around unless something like that happens. It's just that, if she comes back to me, she's just going to go back to the same routine, because I don't think that mentally she's willing to make that flip and to, listen to me and to abide by the rules of my house.
So you're here asking me as Dr. Phil, and I guess also as a dad, what the hell do I do here? Oh. Give me some answers.
Yeah, in my mind, I've run out of options. That's the whole reason why I let her go in the first place, because I had taken her cell phone, I had taken her computer, I had put on restrictions. I paid for a trip to Europe. We were going to go to Italy, just the two of us and my oldest boy and his girlfriend. Told her, if you get your grades up, you come with us. Her grades went down after that. I tried everything I could think of to motivate her to straighten herself out, and just nothing worked.
She said that was a disgusting bribe. That's how she described that, as a disgusting bribe. Now, Kaylee says she believes this is just normal teenage behavior, and her ex is just straight-laced and square. Take a look.
Since Gabrielle's been living with me, we talk a lot about things that make her happy and feel good.
I'm so excited for our house.
And a bedroom just for you.
And hardwood floors.
And all hardwood floors. CJ's judgment and disappointment was stifling and frustrating, to say the least, for Gabrielle. Now that she's not experiencing that regularly, she's just blossoming like I couldn't have even imagined.
I feel you and your presence next to me, and I can just feel comfiness and safetyness of where I am.
I smoke weed regularly, and I highly recommend it to everyone. I don't supply weed for her. What happens actually is she would take it from me, and I would kind of pretend like I didn't know. My daughter, she was 12 when I decided to put her on birth control. I know that she's sexually active, and I'm really glad that I do, because if I didn't, she couldn't have any discussion about wearing condoms, all of these things that are really important. And now she's not going to school. I've decided to homeschool her because I think she'll be much more successful.
I decided to start doing my school by myself instead of having to deal with all the teachers and students and
When it comes to Gabrielle, she is definitely going to do exactly what she wants to do. If you try to restrict her, you should get out of the way. CJ and I are different people with different approaches. He's very conservative. He's very old-fashioned. As a result, judgmental. I'm the exact opposite. I'm extremely liberal and open-minded. My ex-husband, CJ, gets very upset because I listen to her. CJ says that I'm her friend and not her mother. But in my mind, I'm definitely both. I am first her friend.
They're telling me that you're in a fight with the hotel and with my staff, and then you pull out your breast in the lobby and explain, I sometimes get naked when I get irritated.
Yeah.
And later,
If I want to be like, la la la, and pretend like that's not happening, she'll do it behind my back.
you're at a concert with your daughter smoking dope.
Yes.
That she got from you.
When I think about being a dominatrix, I feel euphoria. I have more than 1,000 clients. It's intimate, it's powerful. I cannot make a mistake. I am perfect in every way, and my mistakes turn out to benefit you greatly. What? That's wonderful.
I love my mom's work. I so respect my mom's work, and I so treasure my mom's work only because of the way her eyes light up when she talks to me about it.
When I think about my ex-wife Kaylee making her living as a dominatrix and exposing my daughter to that, it's horrifying. Gabrielle's a teenager. She's a young lady. This is beyond inappropriate. It's crazy.
Some people might say that I'm a prostitute. CJ said that I'm a self-made whore. I love what I do, and I don't care what anybody thinks, much less CJ.
Okay, you've been listening so far, right?
I have. I'd like to address your understanding of my profession.
Okay.
So, while what I do is sexual in nature, it's not sexual in work. It's about the idea of that, and it's a very deep subject, so it's probably another topic, but it is important to me that it's not about sexual services. It's about fantasy. Does that make sense?
I'll take your word for it.
There's a lot to know. My daughter knows what I do. My daughter understands what it is, and it's important.
Okay. And you said that since she got away from him and his control and square, rule-bound situation, that she has just blossomed.
Well, first I'll say that the reason that we're here is that I'm looking for a way to bridge CJ's way of parenting with mine so that he can be closer with her and so that she can be closer with him. So I'm just trying to help him understand that I understand her point of view better than he can because she has an issue with authority. Her issue with authority is probably 10 times what mine is. And I know that the only way that I can help her is to listen to her and try and find a way together for her to win and
Well,
understand.
the most powerful role model in any child's life is a same-sex parent.
Mm-hmm.
And so I know this, and so you're a very important influence in her life.
Yes.
And you say she has a problem with authority, and you say you do as well.
Absolutely.
And I get here this morning and they're telling me that over the weekend that in the middle of the night that you're in a fight with the hotel and with my staff here.
Yeah. I apologize for that, Dr. Phil. I did.
You were being asked to leave the hotel for smoking marijuana in your room and asked to pay a $200 fine. And so at 12:41 a.m., Allie sends you a text and you curse her out via text in response.
Yeah.
And here's what the text says. Allie, hi Kaylee, it's Allie. I heard something bad happened to you at the hotel this evening. I'm very sorry. If anyone was rude to you whatsoever, please let me know if you would like us to change you to another hotel tomorrow. Your response was blank you, Allie. Allie says, what did I do? Your response was blank you. I'm gonna block you because you're a
Well, okay. So here's the thing. I had this underlying...
Oh, I'm not finished. 1:15 a.m., 3 security guards are standing outside your hotel door and explained to Allie that you had been very loud, smoking marijuana, disturbing other guests.
No.
You opened the hotel room door and threw a used feminine product at them.
I did, yeah.
So at 2 o'clock, you arrive at the Mae West building the next afternoon with your daughter, Gabrielle, and your son, and you meet Allie and the associate producer, Courtney, and apologize and admit that you and Gabrielle just got high last night. And then, braless, you pull out your breast in front of the staff in the lobby and explain, I sometimes get naked when I get irritated.
Yeah. But I'll be honest that I felt that, and CJ knew this, that there would be this creating the villain out of me, which makes sense. That makes sense that that would happen. So...
Well, who created the villain? Why are you throwing stuff out the door
I'm
at
trying
the
to explain
staff?
to you that I felt very, it was very weird. I mean, we smoked in the room. We shouldn't have done that. They asked me about it. I apologized. I said, I'm really sorry. I won't do that again. They said, okay. They said, you need to pay a fine. I said, well, can I pay it when I leave? And they said, sure. So off we went to Denny's, their favorite place, and came back. And then at that point, they're trying to escort me out of the hotel, which I thought we had an agreement that that was okay, that I was going to go back. And now it's 11:30 at night, and I'm supposed to take my children where? So I was really angry. And then they wouldn't let me in. And then they went to sleep 3 times, Dr. Phil. The kids went to sleep 3 times. We're sleeping in there, and they banged on the door and wake them up. I felt that they were trying to antagonize me, and unfortunately it worked really well.
You smoke marijuana with her?
I do now, yeah. We smoke before we meditate.
I've looked at the videos that she's put up with you. You're at a concert with your daughter smoking dope.
Yes.
Closed captioning provided by
You have your daughter right now, and where do you live?
We don't really live anywhere. We've been waiting for my settlement from CJ to get our new place. And so now we've just been with different friends waiting for that to happen.
You smoke marijuana with her?
I do now, yeah. We smoke before we meditate. We meditate together.
Okay, and where do you get the you have a marijuana card, medical marijuana card?
So can I just explain that at her age, she had started smoking marijuana before. I don't know when, a couple of years ago at least. And I could see that she's smoking marijuana. I could smell that she's smoking marijuana. And she would smoke until she was just worthless, like she couldn't walk around or do anything. And I said, why? Another one of her friends at the same time had smoked something he'd gotten from some random guy and sat on the sofa for 3 days because it had been laced with acid or something. And that really frightens me. That really frightens me that she could get something horrible, or that she's just going to smoke and smoke and smoke until she's blue, which is not the point, you know? It's just like talking about, if I were talking about these things, if I want to be like what the status quo is and la 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 and pretend like that's not happening and let her lie to me, then she can do all kinds of horrible, crazy things that don't need to happen.
So you give it to her because it's controlled, you know what's in it?
I know it's in it. I know how much she has. I know when she gets it. You pretend like your kids aren't doing things. You tell yourself that you're a good parent, and you're just lying to yourself. It's just not true.
You give it to her for two reasons. One is you know that it's not laced with something on the street.
That's the first thing.
Because it's medical.
Yeah.
So you give it to her for quality control. And two, you do it before you meditate, and
yes.
She's not just going nuts with it.
It's a common knowledge that Eastern culture would use those sorts of things for meditation purposes and things like that.
Well, because I've looked at the pictures that she's put up in the videos that she's put up with you. Where is this taking place?
That's at a concert.
That's at a concert.
Yeah. Now, if I try to,
now she's 14.
Agreed, and I tried to find a way to talk to her where she'll hear me and try to get on board with me, because even if I tell her, listen, I don't want a video of that, I want you posting that, I don't want well, she'll do it behind my back. She'll do it behind my back. So.
But you're smoking dope with your daughter at a concert.
I wasn't smoking dope.
You're with your daughter smoking dope at a concert.
She was at the concert. Yeah, she was smoking. Yeah. Yeah.
I can conjugate verbs however you need them conjugated. You're at a concert with your daughter smoking dope.
Yes.
That she got from you.
That one. Yeah, that one's from me. Yeah. Yeah, that's from me.
Does that seem appropriate?
Not to her. Not to her.
No, I'm asking you.
It does. It feels.
Well, I'm asking.
It feels like
I just want to know.
A place where she can be herself.
And you're okay with her being sexually active at 14?
I think she would have been sexually active a year prior if I hadn't dragged it out a bit. She was looking at things when she was 11 that would make you and I make our toes curl.
Well, you showed them to her.
I did not show them to her. I did not. She showed me 11 videos.
She found it on your phone.
She is manipulative and smart, and if I try to hide things from her, now there's still things I don't show her or talk about because I'm not comfortable talking about them with her, but she is in your face, and honestly, she's a force. So if we want to go...
She's 14. We've got the tail wagging the dog here.
Yeah, you come see for yourself. Come take a look.
Okay, I will. She's here.
Okay,
so we're going to meet Gabrielle next, who says that while her father doesn't try to understand her, her mom has taught her many things in life, including sex and love. We'll be right back.
My dad's just so square. He just has no open mind. My dad really does want me to act like some typical white girl. His philosophy is, oh, just wait till you're an adult. Just wait until you get out in the big real world. Yeah, well, I think the real world can kiss my ass.
Closed captioning provided by The 14-year-old Gabrielle says she grew up living in a bubble with all of these, quote, perfect people with their, quote, perfect families. But now she wants to live in a completely different way by not going to school and getting high smoking marijuana and couch surfing with her mother. Her dad, CJ, says he wants Gabrielle back home with him out of what he calls an inappropriate environment for a child. Take a look.
This past year, I've had to get really clear with where I stand with both my mom and my dad. My mom really, honestly, is my best friend because she really does understand me and she hears me. Like, even my friends don't understand me the way you do. I got so fed up with my dad. He was always nitpicking everything that I did. My dad's just so square. He just has no open mind. His philosophy is, oh, just wait till you're an adult. Just wait until you get out in the big real world and the big world kicks you in the butt. Yeah, well, I think the real world can kiss my ass because it's gonna be awesome. And my dad really does want me to act like some typical white girl. It's just not me. I dropped out of school because I really hate it. It's awful. I have the worst issue with authority, and I can't stand being told what to do. They expect you to act like an adult, but they treat you like a child. I started having sex about a year ago. I feel like I'm completely mature enough to be in a sexual relationship just because I have all this knowledge and understanding. My mom believes that as long as it's making me happy and as long as I'm protected, it's all that matters. What my dad doesn't know is that I'm in a polyamorous relationship. My dad thinks I'm like a slut, like I'm just selling it all over the place. I'm just giving everybody my everything, but that's so unbelievably untrue. I smoke weed pretty much every day, multiple times a day, like breakfast, lunch, and dinner. My mom and I smoke plenty of weed together. When it comes to weed, my dad gets all close in my face and sniffs me. Like that. He sniffs me, and he's like, ugh, you smell like pot. You smell like pot. Ugh, God. I think my dad can either stand by my side or he can stand in front of me. And if you stand by my side, you'll be with me. But if you stand in front of me, I will run you.
Okay, hello.
Hi.
You said that you have a lot of knowledge and wisdom at this point. Are you referring to relationship-wise?
It doesn't necessarily mean that I know everything, but it means that I have a lot of knowledge in the years that I have, and I have a lot of maturity, and I just have an open perspective, and I'm not closed off.
How do you define a polyamorous relationship?
A relationship where two people love each other, but have sexual relations with other people.
Okay. So you're in a polyamorous relationship because you say, how can one person give you everything?
Yeah.
You're 14, which, does that seem to you young to be sexually active in a relationship?
No, because according to everybody else in this room and everybody on the planet, they have their own stereotypes and their own statistics for how things are supposed to be, the way that things are supposed to be. You're supposed to do this at this age and this at this age, and you can't do these things when you're this age because why? Why can't I do these things, Dr. Phil?
Wow, that's pretty judgmental.
Your judgment.
You just judged everybody in this room and you don't know a one of them?
The one's
The
giggling?
whole point of the show is to judge me. It's for everyone to sit back and judge
Yeah,
me.
that's the one she's talking about.
The whole point of the show isn't to judge you. The whole point of the show is to try to get you some help.
Now, I do want to point out that
No, I'm not trying
I have
no.
never undermined you, and the fact that you say that I undermined you is completely incorrect. If I undermined you,
You've undermined me
with my own
constantly.
philosophy.
No, it's not a philosophy thing.
No, it is my own.
It's not a philosophy
Ask her
thing.
what I said when you bought the tickets to Italy.
It's allowing her to do whatever the hell
Ask
she
her
wants.
what I said.
That's how you undermine me.
Well,
if
and
I
that's
put a
how
rule
I-
in place,
that's
you
how
tell her
she-
no,
okay,
no
that's
big
how I
deal.
tell
You should get your grades back up, and you can go to Italy
She
with
should
Daddy.
be-
It would
she
be
should be in
wonderful.
school.
You act like I trash you, and that's not the case. In fact, the opposite is true.
Yeah.
I never said
The
you trashed
opposite is
me.
true.
I said you just don't listen to me, and you've taught her how not to listen to me.
I did
and
not
that's a
teach her
huge
how to
problem.
I asked her to listen to you. I'm begging her to listen to you, especially when you want to take her
But
to
you
Italy.
don't listen
especially-
to me when I ask you for things.
Well,
So
not,
when she
not all
sees you
the
treat me
time,
like that,
Rosette.
why should
Well,
she treat me any
okay,
different?
So when am I going to start jumping through hoops for you to please her? I'm not going to do that.
Do I want to give her acid-laced marijuana or clean marijuana? If those were the only two choices, then gee, you've got me.
Then what's C? Then tell me C.
You say you smoke marijuana for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, you said, and lots of times with your mother. Do you have any idea what the research says about the neurological impact of that on a teenage brain?
No, and I don't care.
I told her that. I told her
Well, that tells me the research is correct. Seriously, what do you mean you don't care?
I don't.
Well, maybe you don't, and maybe some parents at home do, because the effects of marijuana on a teenage brain are extremely well documented, and indicates that it creates difficulty thinking and problem solving, problems with memory and learning, impaired reaction time, coordination and concentration, decreased cognitive flexibility and visual scanning, difficulty maintaining attention, lower academic success, higher likelihood of dropping out of high school, increased depression and/or anxiety, higher risk of psychosis with family history, lower life satisfaction, and poorer physical health. Those are not opinions, those are facts, those are realities, because at your age, your brain is pruning itself back and rewiring itself, and there are some sticky aspects of the components of marijuana that disrupt that process that can affect you with occasional use of marijuana, let alone chronic use of marijuana that can affect your brain long term.
I've heard that a lot.
I've told her this, Dr. Phil. I've explained to you that. I've told her this.
But yet you give it to her.
I give it to her.
She's
so
not
she
the only one that's giving it to me, and you guys make it seem that way.
She would smoke until she would smoke. When I found her, when I caught her, I could tell that she'd been smoking. She'd smoke herself silly, and she'd smoke whatever she could get her hands on. So you tell me which is worse, because if you want to lock her in a room, then that might work. And if you want to send her to school, just forget it. That's why I'm choosing to homeschool her.
You asked the question, tell you which is worse. Yeah. If you want to set up a paper tiger, which you can there tear down, where it's like, do I want to give her acid-laced marijuana or clean marijuana? If those were the only two choices, then, gee, you've got me.
Then what's C? Then tell me C. Yeah. Then you tell me C. What's the answer then?
Well, C is that you raise your daughter in such a way that marijuana is not a default go-to.
So you lock her up and don't send her to school without any friends, or you assume that she can't get her hands on things like that, and then when she does, it's going to be bigger than it would have been. And you know that that's true. You know that people do that. That they just go off the deep end then because they're so pent up. And
well, you know, one way is to lock them down and restrict them to the point that you build fences so high they can't get over and footings so deep they can't dig under, or you can teach them to value themselves so much that they wouldn't even consider to put poison in their body.
Well, I think that
Gabrielle's grandmother was the one who called the show because she was worried about her granddaughter, who she says she loves very much. We'll add her to the conversation next.
Kaylee was such a good mother when she was married to my son. My question is, what happened? In my eyes, Kaylee is immoral, incapable, selfish, irresponsible. Just the sight of her makes me want to slap her.
Closed captioning provided by... Well, we're out of time today. There has been a lot of finger pointing between Kaylee and CJ. The heat turns up even more tomorrow when CJ's mother, Roseanne, gets added to the mix. Now, she was actually the one who first contacted the show, extremely concerned about Gabrielle, and blames her downward spiral on her mother, Kaylee, who she feels should be locked up for her terrible parenting. I mean, she thinks she should be locked up. But Kaylee claims Roseanne is just a meddling former mother-in-law who needs to butt out and mind her own business. Take a look. So tune in tomorrow, because believe me, you do not want to miss this. Log on to drphil.com, and you can also find me on Facebook and Twitter. We'll see you then. Thanks.